What is going on YouTube? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'm bringing y'all back for a video that was requested by some people in the comments on the last video. We're going to be covering the rock light mounting system in this video. I'm gonna go into detail on how we did the ones down the sides, the fender wells and all that. I actually haven't mounted the ones in the front and the back yet, but we do know how we're going to do those, so I'll go over that as well. But first, I'm going to clean this shop up because it is a mess in here. Alright guys, I got the shop cleaned up. Looks a whole lot better in here. You can see a lot more of the floor. There's still a little bit of trash, but it looks a lot better. All that, just disregard. That's the stuff from the lift kit box. Just a bunch of paper trash. But anyway, it looks a whole lot better in here. A lot more clean. Alright guys, so on to the explanation of how we install these rock lights. This is going to be how we install them down the sides and how the front will be installed. The back will be a little bit different, and of course the fender wells are different. But we bought this 2-inch wide PVC board. It probably comes in 8 or 10 foot pieces at Lowe's. Anyway, we bought some of this stuff and we measured the cab. Then we cut the PVC to the length that we needed it. We sanded it and prepped it for paint, and then we actually painted it at my dad's cabinet shop. We painted it with some kind of black paint that he had there. I'm not sure what it was, but we painted it black, and then we mounted all of our rock lights to it. So we used the rubber that came with the rock lights, and we just routed the wires out of the sides. That's how we done it underneath the truck as well. And we just used these little silver screws that are good for like wood and stuff. Like, you can find these at Lowe's too. They are 1-inch, number 6 by 1-inch Phillips head screws. And they're just a little wood screw. Just looks like that. Anyway, we use those to secure the lights to the PVC, and then to start off, when we actually mounted the PVC, we got underneath the truck and we held the PVC up where it needed to be, roughly. And then we took these little brackets right here that were already on the truck from the lights that I had before. You can find these at ledglow.com. So these brackets were already on there, and we held the PVC up roughly where we needed it to be with the rock lights on it, and we marked where we wanted our brackets to go. So this obviously is not going to work down there because we had the brackets screwed into the rockers. So we took a heat gun and we heated this area up really well, and it allows you to bend this. And once you bend this and it cools back down, it'll stay in the position that you need it to. But we'll hop down here and show you guys exactly how it looks underneath the truck. We started by sanding it smooth, painting it black, mounting our rock lights on it. All evenly spaced down the truck. There's 5 of them. And then we held the PVC up here with no brackets, and we marked exactly where we wanted each bracket to go. Every light has 2 brackets between it except this one. There's 2 on that one. You might not be able to see both of them, but there's 2. So we marked where we wanted our brackets, and then we took the PVC down and we mounted our brackets. We heated up these brackets right here where they were bent, and we just took them and bent them down without the PVC in there. So we took them and bent them down all to about the same level. Once we did that, we got our PVC back under here and we popped it into all of these brackets. And then to ensure that it's secure, we ran these square drive screws with a big pan head on it to pull it up nice and tight through the bracket, through the PVC. That's on every bracket. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to come out. These brackets are pretty stable. I mean, you can see it moves a little bit, but they're just plastic brackets. And then, like I was saying, I'll make my connections up on top of this PVC, and I can just run zip ties or whatever to, secure all my wires and keep it clean up there. So that covers the sides and the front. The front's going to be similar to that. We haven't put the PVC in yet, but you can see right there where that old LED glow light is mounted is where the PVC will be mounted. So right here you actually don't have to bend those brackets at all, because you want the light to be facing straight down. All right, so onto the front fender wells here. There's 3 in each fender well. On this one, we used essentially the same screws, except they're just self-tapping. So they're the same exact screws, except they just have that self-tapping, like, metal cutting end on them. And the reason we use those is because these are actually screwed into the metal. These are not screwed into the fender liner. And you see, we didn't drill holes for these wires to run up and through, because you have a fuse box right above this fender. So what we did was we used the rubber and just routed the wire out of the backs of these lights. I'm gonna take these lights, they're connected right now because I was testing them, but anyway, I'm gonna take these wires and just tuck them into this gap here and run them into the engine bay. And I'm gonna make my connection in there, and then from there, I'll run the wires down the frame to these lights, connect all of these as I go, and then I'll make my way to the rear. So in the rear here, we actually had holes from these lights where we had zip ties ran through holding them on. So we kind of just based where we mounted our middle light off of that hole. It's a little off center, but if anything, you want to go off of this hole on the fender. If your truck has that hole, that'll be your closest thing to the center of your fender. And then off of the center light, we just measured each light, and these aren't perfect, they're not exactly even, but they're about 4 inches apart from each other. But to actually mount the light, we use those screws that we used in the PVC. So they're more like a wood screw. What we did to make the hole in that plastic fender liner, the easiest thing that we noticed to do was to take this propane torch here and actually heat up the tip of your drill bit. And once the drill bit's heated up, it melts that plastic a lot easier, and you'll be able to drill through the plastic only without hitting your wheel well and denting your bed on the inside. So that's how we did that. And then I had to extend the wires because the wire tails were actually too short. So before I had that wire I bought on Amazon, I just got some like speaker wire. They call it lamp wire at Lowe's, but it's basically just speaker wire. So I extended the tails on these. When we were getting ready to mount the lights up to the fender, we took some of this aluminum wire here, and you can use whatever else to fish the wires up through the fender liner. So as you continue from there onto the back, the back is a little bit different because previously my lights were mounted to this frame rail right here. So we actually haven't gotten to these yet, but we're just gonna run those self-tapper screws into the frame here to hold our lights, and just run the wire out of the back of the rubber on these to make our connection. And I'll just tuck the wires up in here on top of the frame rail. But there's gonna be 3 back here, and I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory. To wire these up on this truck, I didn't want to have to run really heavy gauge wire, because if you do connect all of these lights in one big loop, it pulls a heavier amp load on your main like power leads for the lights. So wherever your connection starts has a very large amperage pull on it. So the wire that you connect your lights together needs to be thicker. So I'm actually doing 2 main runs. Nice. So I'm actually doing 2 main runs on this truck. There's gonna be one run of lights down the driver's side and 1 run of lights down the passenger side. So, but they're gonna be on the same switch, so that keeps me from having to upsize my wire to accommodate for that amperage pull. That's why I just ran the 18 gauge wire. Hey guys, I just wanted to throw this little clip in here real quick about wiring up the rock lights. So I know I said I was gonna use these little T-splices here. These little plastic T-splices on, wiring up these rock lights And you see, I got one done right here, and then I was trying to make this connection. This wire runs back to the fender wells there. So I was actually just trying to use it and test it to see if I could get a couple of these lit up and the rear wheel well lit up. In the process of like trying to make that connection, I realized it was way too difficult to work with, and those things just aren't big enough to hold 2 or 3 of those wires, you know, possibly up to more than that, 4 or 5. So I'm actually just going to use butt connectors and shrink wrap. So that'll still give me a clean, solid connection on all of my rock lights. So I'm just gonna put shrink wrap over my wire and then butt connect them and then melt the shrink wrap over the connection. That way, you know, it's all clean, it's sealed up good. There's not really that much of a chance for water to get down in there. But yeah, I just wanted to insert this little clip in here, just to let you guys know, a little update. Because I realized that, you know, those little T-splices are not gonna work. But all the rock lights are mounted on the truck now. I know in the like clip 2 seconds ago, all the rock lights were not mounted, but this is a few days later, so all the rock lights are mounted now. I just got to get them all wired up. I want to show you guys the switch panel that me and my dad made. Well, mainly my dad, because it's really neat and it looks super custom. Let's take you guys in the house. Excuse the mess, guys. Our house is a mess. It's just me and my dad, 2 guys living in the house. So this is an aux beam switch panel that my dad incorporated into the bottom cubby hole of this trim piece that goes in the center console. That hole back there is just for my USB for my Apple Music. And then this push button here, there used to be a cigarette lighter here. We found some washers. I'll see if I can include that part number down below. It's a washer with like an inset hole, and then I got a push button from Amazon. So this will be for my cutouts. I'll push it, it opens, and then push it again, it'll close. So that's going to be for my exhaust cutouts. This will control all of my lights, my marine speakers, stuff like that. So I just wanted to show you guys that, just explain about the connections on the rock lights, because I didn't want to put this video out and people try to use those T-taps and just have a hard time with it. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the video, guys. Sorry for my rambling. If you guys have any questions, just throw them down in the comments below, as far as like any wiring questions or anything about rock lights, any video suggestions you guys might have, just drop them down in the comments. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. So make sure to drop a like and maybe subscribe if you enjoyed the videos, and we'll see you guys in the next video.